Good evening and welcome to UTV Live. Between them, the UDA, UVF and Red Hand Commando killed 1,000 people during the Troubles. Today they declared their war was over. The UVF has put all its guns beyond use. The UDA has started and has promised to complete the start it has made. Our reporter Sharon O'Neill was there for the Loyalist announcement.
It may have taken longer than expected, but today Loyalists confirmed what we found out over a week ago, that they've decommissioned. At a press conference in East Belfast, a UVF and Red Hand Commando statement was read out. Our cameras weren't allowed to capture that moment, but the statement by the command staff of both organisations couldn't have been clearer. All weaponry has been totally and irreversibly put beyond use. As well as the decommissioning body, 3 independent witnesses were present when the weaponry was destroyed. They were from America, the Republic and the UK.
This is a truly momentous day in the history of progressive loyalism. The decommissioning of all weapons by the Ulster Volunteer Force and Red Hand Commando shows that peaceful, stable, inclusive democracy is the way forward for our country.
The PUP leader says it was her predecessor, David Irvine, who was instrumental in bringing this about.
This is the day he worked towards. I believe that David knew eventually this would happen. I think the case of people having the confidence and working together to bring it to effect, it's now happened, and David, I know, would be very, very proud.
Exactly how many guns, bullets and explosives were destroyed wasn't disclosed, and it won't be.
This couldn't have been done without the vision of the leadership of the Ulster Volunteer Force and Red Hand Commando. It also couldn't have been done if middle management within the Ulster Volunteer Force hadn't bought into the vision.
The International Commission on Decommissioning is expected to release a statement within the next few days.
In the scheme of things, it's historic. I don't expect people to jump up and down and have parties in the street, but for me it's a very historic moment. It also frees up the governments to move on. It cements the peace process, and I think it also cements a democratic society.
Less than an hour later, the UDA released a statement confirming it carried out an act of decommissioning.
This is a day of hope, it's a day of joy, certainly for our community, and we believe this is a day we should be built on.
The UDA said decommissioning will be within the previously notified timescale. What this means is the organisation has agreed a date for that with the decommissioning body.
It's a very welcome indication that there is a beginning and an end.
We won't be told that timescale. The UDA says there's no place for guns and violence in society. Is this the start of the UDA going out of business? Not just with guns, but racketeering, extortion, etc.?
I think this is the new beginning for all the societies in Northern Ireland. It's about dealing with the issues of community relations, dealing with the issues of antisocial behaviour, dealing with the issues of all the social ills that are keeping our community outside the opportunities of creating better education, better employment.
Mr Gallagher insisted the UDA did not issue a cash for guns demand.
There's absolutely no negotiations going on. This is a process that we believe has to be done for the right reason.
Nationalist politicians say it's long overdue.
We want to welcome what has happened today and encourage people to go the distance with this. And we all have to bear in mind today the feelings of victims of both the UVF and the UDA.
This is good news. More weapons off the street. It proves that politics is working, that there's an alternative way forward.
While the UVF has put its weapons beyond use, the UDA still have a long way to go. The question now is, will they give up all their weapons? Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live.
The two largest Protestant paramilitary groups in Northern Ireland have confirmed that they've decommissioned the majority of their guns and explosives. The UDA and the UVF were involved in a campaign of violence over more than 2 decades, during which they killed almost 1,000 people. Mark Simpson reports.
Loyalist guns are going, and many have already gone. The Ulster Defence Association confirmed today it has started decommissioning. The Ulster Volunteer Force and Red Hand Commando said they'd already finished the process. They no longer have any weapons. The announcement was made by a former UVF prisoner.
In the scheme of things, it's historic. I don't expect people to jump up and down and have parties in the street, but for me it's a very historic moment. It also frees up the governments to move on. It cements the peace process, and I think it also cements a democratic society.
At the height of the Troubles, there were tens of thousands of Loyalist paramilitaries, supporting, funding or actively involved in the ruthless campaign of bombings and shootings. During 3 decades of violence, Loyalists killed almost 1,000 people, mainly Catholics. It was estimated they had around 900 weapons, mostly handguns, plus a stockpile of ammunition and explosives. It's believed the decommissioning of UVF guns was watched in secret by 3 independent witnesses from America, Ireland and the UK. Today's moves by Loyalists will not solve all the problems in Belfast overnight, but the decommissioning of so many guns will make Northern Ireland a safer place. The news comes just as the marching season begins. Some missiles were thrown by Republicans at this parade in Belfast this afternoon, and at one stage the army had to carry out a controlled explosion on a suspicious device. In spite of all the progress made recently, the peace process here still has some way to go. Mark Simpson, BBC News, West Belfast.
In the BBC Newsline, the UVF and UDA have carried out what they describe as historic moves on arms decommissioning. Both Loyalist paramilitary groups have issued statements, with the UVF saying they've disposed of their entire arsenal. The UDA have made a start. Julian O'Neill has more details.
We're better to pledge peace than a church. The UVF picked a mission hall in East Belfast for their weapons announcement, the go-between with the decommissioning body, explaining the significance of the moment.
In the scheme of things, it's historic. I don't expect people to jump up and down and have parties in the street, but for me it's a very historic moment. It also frees up the governments to move on. It cements the peace process, and I think it also cements a democratic society. No longer can people accuse Loyalist guns of holding things back.
While this was happening, the UDA was making an announcement of their own. These then are the key parts of the 2 Loyalist statements on decommissioning. The UVF stated all weapons and explosives are totally and irreversibly beyond use. The decommissioning was carried out in front of independent international witnesses. The UDA are committed to putting their arsenal permanently beyond use. The Decommissioning arms body witnessed an active decommissioning. The process will be completed within a notified timescale, but details were not revealed. Down the years, Loyalist guns and bombs took 1,000 lives, mostly Catholics. UDA decommissioning is mid-flow, but according to their allies, completion is not linked to a financial payoff.
There is absolutely, utterly no negotiations on with any government or anyone else. This is about creating a new environment, about creating a new future. As far as we're concerned, the evidence for us is now here that the Ulster Defence Association is committed and it's going along the right path, and we're very pleased with it.
Neither group have said how much weaponry has gone. Together they held hundreds of guns and some explosive.
These acts of decommissioning 15 years after the Loyalist ceasefires come a month or so ahead of a government deadline set for significant progress on the arms issue. The focus could now well be on ensuring the UDA complete what they've started. Julian O'Neill, BBC Newsline, Belfast.
Well, the Secretary of State Sean Woodward led a broad welcome to the move, saying the UVF statement clearly signalled that Loyalism wanted to play a positive role in the future of Northern Ireland. He said he welcomed the UDA's start to decommissioning and encouraged the group to complete the process as soon as possible. The First Minister and DUP leader Peter Robinson said the statements of both the UVF and UDA were a significant and historic milestone for Northern Ireland. Sinn Féin said it welcomed the news but wanted more details from the head of the decommissioning body, General John